A sleepy Saturday morning on Half Moon Street, and just around the corner, Christmas. I'm walking off a bit of self-inflicted pain. You know how it is. 3 days on the rantan, 3 whole days drinking my seasonal bonus. You know how it is when the belly's had a skinful, the mind is willing, but the body isn't able. Well, that's how it is. Just out for a scove, myself on my own, no particular place to go, just following my nose. Just follow your nose. That's what my granddad used to do. A great man for following his nose was my granddad. On my mother's soul, he could find his way to work blindfolded. All the way from his front doorstep up on Dublin Hill, down into the belly of the city, just by following his nose. The first thing that hit my granddad and he leaving the house would be the thick country smell of cattle from the dealer's fields beyond the grotto in Blackpool. Led on like a bull by the ring, he'd close his eyes and follow his nose, past the stale stench of last night's stout and cigarette smoke from the string of pubs along Dublin Street, past the Glen Hall, the full length of Thomas Davis Street. And with the first hint of crusty bread coming from the ovens of Cuthbert's Bakery over in Great William O'Brien Street, he'd know he was at Blackpool Church. Then the sweet smell of molten sugar. The Shawleys making toffee apples up in Gerald Griffin Street would carry him past the oak casks of the distillery and onto the Watercourse Road. A pleasure. A pleasure cut short by the piercing, deathly, toxic, foul cloud coming from the slaughterhouse off Denny's Lane. But then, just for that whiff of a second, the subtle scent of sherbet drifting down from Linehan's sweet factory would carry him past the putrid pelts of the tannery and onto the first taste of human waste at Powell-Raddy. Turning right onto Leitrim Street, and there'd be no mistaking the warmth of the moist malt, brewing stout, billowing from Murphy's stack. He'd know then he was on the right track, so he'd put his hands into the pockets and whistle all the way from Powell-Raddy Harbour to the home farm stores, eyes wide shut. And though still out of sight, at the corner of Point Street, the River Lee at Carroll's Quay would come into scent. High at low tide, low at high tide. He wouldn't turn left nor right, but keep on straight to 3 Points Corner, where Devonshire Street, Leitrim Street and Coburg Street melt into one. He'd stay right on track, being passed from scent to scent, like a baton in a relay race, spurred on by the aromatic blending of Moore's vegetables, Griffin's shoemakers, Noreen's apple tarts. Must be Friday because there's kippers and Creedons, O'Connell's butchered beef and O'Sullivan's cured bacon. At Falvey's Corner he'd stop dead, struck by a tidal wave of fishy smells from the Baltimore stores, enough to knock a horse. And for the first time on his scove, my granddad opened his eyes, looked back at the eastern face of Shandon where 7:30 means 25 to 8. Then turning right onto Bridge Street, the fine wines and exotic spices of Madden's would carry him across Patrick's Bridge, through the gateway of the city, all the way to work, just by following his nose.